To say that Camdrome is a project shrouded in mystery would be a gross understatement. Camdrome is a horror full-motion video game that left the moment it arrived. First shown at PAX 2013, attendees were shocked to find something tucked away at the indie megabooth. Amidst bright, colorful games like Runner 2 was a blood-covered computer monitor with a webcam on top of it. During the event, the monitor played disturbing and sometimes bizarre videos featuring different people being murdered by a doll-faced man. Between each clip was a logo featuring a bloody eye and the title. Camdrome. Attendees at PAX didn't know what to make of it, but many people noted the similarity to FMV games like Night Trap and Corpse Killer, and the heavy influence from David Cronenberg's cult favorite, Videodrome. But Camdrome wasn't just contained to PAX, as a Camdrome Twitter account would also begin posting on the first day of the event. In addition to posting cryptic messages, the Camdrome Twitter would also reply to journalists attending PAX. For example, Nick from 4Player Network had the Camdrome account reply to him with a gif of a woman getting her throat slashed. Moreover, in September 2013, journalists from other publications like Destructoid and Eurogamer received emails from 11@camdrome.com with the subject, Camdrome Lives. They read as follows.
We are not going to achieve a new world order without paying for it in blood as well as in words and money. Our problems can't be ignored. We are the problem. I am the answer. We are in this together. I am humanity. 6, 8, 7, 4, 7. You are one of 11. Absolve yourself of guilt. Breathe life into me.
All of the emails were similar except for at the end, where the recipients were said to be one of 11. They were also beckoned to absolve themselves of guilt and to breathe life into Camdrome. What's the significance of the number 11? Well, each email also included a part of an incomplete image. As you may guess, the rest of these were sent to other game journalists and other figures in the games industry. And while most of the articles showing who received the other 9 pieces have been lost to time, we can confirm some of the others thanks to the Super Sleuth blog. Some of note include Jonathan Soderstrom of Hotline Miami fame, and Cliff Bleszinski, who had a huge role in creating the Unreal Engine, as well as the Unreal series of games and the Gears of War series. And while most of the image would be completed, not all of the pieces would surface, leaving us with a somewhat unfinished but beautiful poster for Camdrome. There is way more to the Camdrome ARG, such as the Camdrome website, but needless to say, all of these stunts paid off, as both PAX attendees and the indie game scene as a whole were dying to find out what Camdrome was all about. But above all, the biggest question people wondered was, who was behind Camdrome? When asked about it, exhibitors near the Camdrome booth appeared just as confused by it as other attendees. One exhibitor even claimed that the booth had already been set up by the time he and his team first arrived on Friday morning. However, little did PAX attendees know, the culprits behind Camdrome were in attendance, but not at the Indie Games mega booth. They were on the same floor though, all the way at booth 125. A booth that was ran by Team Meat. That name might not ring a bell in 2024, but in the early 2010s, Team Meat were a rising star in indie games, helmed by Edmund McMillan, the creator of games like The Binding of Isaac, and programming wizard Tommy Raffinis. Team Meat were hot off the success of their beloved indie game, Super Meat Boy. As a result, the gaming world was eagerly awaiting their next game, an eccentric cat simulator called Mugenics. However, what the gaming scene didn't know was that Team Meat had something far more sinister planned as well. After a ton of dead ends, 4Player Network, the same publication that received one of the Camdrome emails, were finally able to find a lead. Having done a search on who registered the Camdrome website, 4Player Network found that the site was registered by none other than Edmund McMillan. After googling the phrase Camdrome Team Meat, 4Player Network came across the resume for Doug Sackman, a director and SFX artist at Backseat Conceptions. The actual resume had already been pulled as the link redirected to Backseat Conceptions' website. However, Google results still showed a sample of text from Doug's resume. The text read, "Horror video game to be released this fall by Team Meat, the creators of Super Meat Boy and The Binding of Isaac." This led to 4Player Network theorizing that Camdrome was a Team Meat project, with Backseat Conceptions having done work on the cutscenes. It appeared that the jig was up, but when asked about Camdrome, both Edmund and Tommy remained coy about it. When Eurogamer presented 4Player Network's evidence to Edmund, he claimed, quote, "We really aren't involved in making Camdrome, but Tommy helped set up the booth there. We know the dev who is making it and have been helping. We believe in the concept but don't actually know that much about the project other than its initial incarnation and the booth setup. We were as in the dark as everyone else on the current ARG, so it seemed like everything was going great for Camdrome, and while Camdrome would go silent, people were hopeful for its return at PAX 2014, but nothing. The Camdrome booth was nowhere to be seen at PAX. Even worse, Team Meat went on to announce Super Meat Boy Forever, killing all speculation of their involvement in Camdrome and leading people to take Edmund's claims at face value. Then PAX 2015 came, and Camdrome was still nowhere to be seen. Same with PAX 2016, PAX 2017, and so on. The years went by. Although the Camdrome Twitter would become active from time to time, no game ever surfaced. To this day, people are still left wondering what happened to Camdrome. Why would somebody make such an elaborate ARG just for nothing to ever come of it? Well, it later turned out that Edmund's story was bullshit. In the years following the Team Meat split, Edmund admitted that he lied about Camdrome being somebody else's project, claiming, "No, I lied. It was an FMV game I was making with James many years ago that got caught in IP limbo and became Vaporware. Maybe one day though, I own the IP now." Camdrome was always a Team Meat project. Edmund just lied so the mystery wouldn't be ruined. So what led to Camdrome being cancelled? Well, in an interview with Northern Lion, Edmund revealed why Camdrome never saw the light of day.
So Tapeworm, Isaac, and Camdrome. And Camdrome was like this totally insane FMV horror Pokemon Snap game that I thought was super cool, but would really bother a lot of people and probably cause issues more than Isaac would. And the person I was working on with it, one of them, got major cold feet about it and put their foot down and basically didn't want to be a part of it. That's one of the reasons why it died.
So Camdrome was cancelled because somebody on the team had gotten cold feet. Besides Edmund, there were two other people working on Camdrome. One of them was James Id, who you may know for their sick-ass commercials for Meat Boy and The Binding of Isaac. However, it's unlikely that James was the one to get cold feet, and James is also no stranger to gore, even working on an NES-style slasher game. That leaves us with only one other candidate for who cancelled Camdrome, Tommy Raffinis. We go into greater depth about this in our video covering the Team Meat split, but during the development of both Camdrome and Mugenics, there was disagreement between Edmund and Tommy on the direction to take Team Meat. Tommy wanted to work on more Meat Boy games, whereas Edmund wanted to expand Team Meat's portfolio with new IPs, not wanting them to be seen as a one-trick pony. Whenever discussing both of these games, Edmund mentioned that their cancellations were out of his control, such as saying the following about Mugenics: "It was cancelled, not by me, ages ago, and I shared the IP so I didn't have much control. Now the IP is mine after 6+ years, so we are restarting it." Moreover, in that same interview with Northern Lion, Edmund discussed the cancellation of Camdrome by stating,
"I want that again though. I want that danger. I want that unknown. Like I want to not care. I don't care, but I want to not care more. I want to just do whatever I want to do, put it out, not care about sales, not look at sales, not think about any success matrix or reviews. Just have fun just like I used to, because I think not only will that make me a better person to be around, but it'll also make me a better designer in the long run. It just feels like charging my battery so I can do something bigger and better in the future."
Edmund would hold similar sentiments towards the cancellation of Mugenics.
Mugenics will haunt me till the end, but I mean, Mugenics will happen one day. It's going to happen. It is a guarantee. It's something that I want to finish, and it's something that I've been prototyping again with Tyler, who I worked on the End Is Nigh with. So there's no doubt in my mind that eventually I'll circle back to it. It's just, I know like when working on certain projects, you can usually feel within the first few weeks or few months of the project how big the wave is. Like how far is this going to carry, right?
Okay.
And for Mugenics, on my end, I had this huge wave. I felt like I could ride this thing for 3 years development wise, but not everybody else was feeling it, and it kind of just died like right there. And it was like, well, I guess we'll move on to something else. We can, do Super Meat Boy Forever or whatever else. But I definitely want to circle back at some point, and I want to finish this because it's always been in the back of my head.
While Edmund's statements illustrate Tommy's lack of enthusiasm for the project, this becomes even more apparent when comparing the two statements on Camdrome in the years that follow, with Edmund making statements such as this: "Camdrome was in development for roughly half a year back in 2013, but was cancelled when I was part of Team Meat. There was an ARG for it, just a weird teaser for a game that I loved and wanted to make but couldn't. I own the rights now and would love to work on it again." As for Tommy, he hasn't said much in regards to Camdrome, but when asked about it on the Team Meat Discord, he had this to say, quote, "Camdrome and Mugenics are all up to Edmund. They ain't team meat babies anymore. A user replies, Edmund took some of the kids. Tommy replies, quote, I took the best kid. It's clear that Edmund and Tommy had wildly different plans for Team Meat, and it was these differences that would ultimately lead to the end of Camdrome. As for the future of Camdrome, Edmund has shown interest in reviving the project, but considering he's working on eugenics, it's probably going to be a while before he absolves himself of guilt and breathes life into Camdrome.